an extended multiple task question here about a company called Nicholson Co. who sells mobile telephones. The customers pay an annual fee plus a monthly charge based on calls made. I'm already thinking the annual fee, that's a fixed cost or fixed revenue. Monthly charge based on calls made, that sounds like variable, doesn't it? This is semi-variable, the money they're getting in. It tells us that they recently employed a consultant to install the balanced scorecard system of performance measurement, and they're going to benchmark these results against some rivals. But this consultant doesn't sound very good. He was called away before the work was finished. He didn't finish the job. And so we are going to complete the work. And we're given some information. Here's the information, lots of different data on different things. I'm just skimming my eye down it so that I can see what's here. There are 365 days in the year. Thank you for telling me that. Task 1 then, we've got to calculate some ratios. ROCE, return on sales, which is the operating margin, asset turnover, and then average weight for a telephone repair to the nearest whole number. So some of these are going to be formula based. So the ones that are formula based, the first 3, I'm going to start off with my formula and then put the right numbers in. So the first one, the return on capital employed, that's the profit before interest and tax or operating profit if I'm not given PBIT, divided by the amount of capital employed in the business. Should it be the average capital employed or the initial capital employed? Well, they tell you slightly different things. The initial capital employed, if you used that, it would tell you the amount of money that was in the business at the start of the year, how efficiently was that turned into profit. If you use the average capital employed, that tells you the on average of the funds that were tied up in the business across the whole year, how efficiently were those converted into profit? Both of these are useful measures. But if we look at the data we're given here, PBIT I'm given, lovely, 48 million. I'm just going to be able to use that. I'm given the average capital employed, and I'm not given anything about the initial capital employed. And so I know that for my formula, I'm going to be using the average figure because that's the only one that I've got available in the question. So let's put the numbers in. So 48 million of PBIT divided by 192 million of capital employed gets me to 0.25. And I need to remember that capital employed is a percentage, and so that is actually 25%. And I'm off to a lovely start. I've got my first number to put in to task 1. Return on sales next. So that's another formula. So my operating margin. So my formula for the operating margin or return on sales is return on sales. The return figure is the profit before interest and tax or operating profit, if that's given in the question, divided by my sales level. And I'm given these numbers. I've got my PBIT figure here of 48 million and my sales revenue is 480 million. And that comes out at 0.1, but look, it's a percentage that's required, and therefore that's going to be converted into a percentage, which is 10%. Lovely. My next number, I'm off to a great start here, flying through, really confident I've got those right because I know my formulas. What about asset turnover? Do you remember the formula for that one? So my formula for asset turnover is my sales level of 480 million, I'm given that in the question, divided by this average assets. Now, where in here are my average assets? They're not here. They're not in there. So this relies on my understanding of a balance sheet. Average capital employed is the same as average assets because capital employed is the equity of the business minus the long-term debt of the business or the debt of the business. And therefore, that's the same. It's the other half of the balance sheet. Average assets is the same as capital employed. And so I can use my capital employed figure in this calculation. Now, if you didn't know that, you just have to plug a figure in from out of here. And the most relevant likely looking one is that 192 million. So you could perhaps, even if you didn't know it, you could problem solve and work it out. So my sales level of 480 million divided by my average assets or average capital employed of 192 million. That comes out at 2.5 times. And what that means is that each year the business takes its assets of 192 million and converts them into sales at a rate of 2.5 times. So each asset is converted into sales revenue 2.5 times across the year. On to the final question, the average wait for a telephone repair to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to have to look through my data here to find anything that looks relevant to telephone repairs and waiting. Okay, so this number is going to be relevant. The average number of telephones that are returned for a repair each year of 10,000. So I get 10,000 returned per year. And do they get dealt with immediately? Well, there's nothing about bill query, customer complaints, customers lost. That's nothing to do with it. But here, the average number of telephones unrepaired at the end of each day, that's telling me that each day I don't complete all of the repairs because there are some unrepaired at the end of each day. Okay, now at the minute, that 804 is in days, and this is, so that's the number per day, and this 10,000 is a number returned in the year. So let's get these into comparable numbers. Let's turn it all into days. So that number returned for repair each year of 10,000. So we're going to divide it by 365. So that's how many phones come in each day. So that's how many are returned for repair. And how many are unrepaired at the end of each day? And there are 804 unrepaired on average at the end of each day. So I can work out how many days it takes to build up to that number of 804. So that's 29.346 days. So if you think about it as a kind of timeline of what's happening, each day, just over 27 phones come in. And on average, I've got 804 phones in the storeroom waiting to be repaired. How many days must it take for that 804 phones to build up? Well, if they're coming in at a rate of 27 a day, that means it's taking about 29 days to build up to that 804 that are waiting to be repaired. So that's my answer, 29 days. And it says to the nearest whole number, so I'm rounding that down to 29 days. Great, let's move on to task 2. So in task 2, I'm asked to calculate some statistics and to work to 2 decimal places. Firstly, the percentage of customers that are lost per year, and secondly, the percentage of sales attributable to new products. Let's focus on the first one, percentage of customers lost per year. So to work this out, I'm going to need to know the number of customers that I have and the number that are lost. Can I find that? Ah, look here. Here's the number that's lost, 117,600. And what about my total customers? Oh, here, there's just under 2 million customers. So what's the percentage that are lost then? So I need to work out what percentage is 117,600 out of the total of just under 2 million, 1960000. So let's work that out as a percentage. 0.06, and I need to remember with percentages I have to times by 100, don't I? So that is 6%. Great, so I can put my first answer in here, 6. And now just to be careful that I answer the question, it says 2 decimal places, and so 6.00. What about the percentage of sales that are attributable to new products, the second one? So for this, I'm going to need to know my sales level, and then I'm going to need to know as well how much of that comes from new products. Oh, look, there's my new products. Sales attributable to new products is up here in the table of 8 million. And that's out of the total sales of 480 million. So my sales from new products are 8 million. And my total sales is 480 million. So out of that 480 million, which includes the 8 million, I'm assuming it includes that 8 million because there's nothing to tell me that this is, sales revenue from existing products only. That's my total sales, I think. And so I've got to work out what percentage the 8 million makes up of the 480. That comes out when I put it into my calculator as 0.0167. And remember, to turn it into a percentage, I need to times by 100. So that is 1.67%. You might be wondering why I didn't put 8 million and 480 million into my calculator. I just put 8 over 480. As long as I am consistent with how I treat the numbers, it's fine. It will get me out to exactly the same answer. So I can put 1.67 in here. Excellent. And I'm done with task 2. Flying through this question. Let's move on to task 3. The last task is all about the balanced scorecard. It tells me, well, the question is, the balanced scorecard measures performance from 4 perspectives: customer, learning and growth, financial success, and one other. What is that other one? Well, the idea of the balanced scorecard is it gives you a range of perspectives, doesn't it? So customer's definitely there. Learning and growth is also known as innovation. You might remember that. Financial success is my traditional financial metrics. And the other one is called internal or efficiency. Now, do either of those options or any of those 3 options sound like internal or efficiency? That one is the closest sounding, isn't it? Process efficiency. So that's the one that I'm going to have to go for. Just had to move my screen so you can see this. The scorecard is balanced in that it requires managers to achieve an equal number of KPIs in each perspective, offset bad with good in another, or deliver performance in all 4 areas. Now, that first one is not correct. The reason that's not correct is that you can have an uneven number of KPIs. If your business is particularly customer facing, it would make more sense to have more customer key performance indicators. So that's not right. It doesn't require you to offset bad with good in another. It's just measuring performance. You could do well in all 4. Or you could do badly in all 4. The idea is to try to improve standards in all of the areas, not that you offset good in one with bad in the other. So the correct answer is this one, that we're looking at 4 different perspectives and trying to improve in those 4 areas. Well done if you got that right.